So let's see, we're gonna cover the code of ethics, right? So as I told you before, this information, and you can all see my screen, yes? Okay. Can be used to really to influence people. Um, and so we want to make sure that you are going to maintain, this is the ethics of coaching, you're going to maintain a professional relationship with your client at all times, that you're going to keep your client's interests above your own, that you're going to maintain and guard your client's confidentiality, super important. You're not going to be offering advice, counseling, or psychotherapy to any client um, in your duties as a coach. And so, like, I have some individuals that are experts and offer advice. I also have psychotherapists who have come through this program. And so the disclosure there is that if you're having, if it's coaching, you're calling it coaching, and if you're offering advice, then you're saying this is beyond my coach's role in my consulting, let's say, because I also do consulting. In my consulting hat, this is what I would say. But in coaching, all you're doing is asking clarifying questions, restating what is said, offering. If you offer advice, you need to ask for permission from the person. Like, can I give you a suggestion? May I give you a suggestion? Would you like a suggestion? And so the reason for that is because to keep the integrity of coaching, the research has shown us that the most sustainable changes come from people making their own decisions. If you get into the habit of just giving people advice, they're, sooner or later, they're going to blame you for their mistakes. And so you want to stay away from doing that. And if you're going to offer advice, you want to ask for permission to do so. You never want to do any harm to any client. So based, with the powerful information that you're going to get to know your clients on a very deep level. So you're taking that oath. Natasha, I saw your hand, so I'm going to answer your question in a moment. And then you want to really develop lasting relationships with your clients, build on a foundation of honesty, integrity, and respect with every client. Natasha, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. So I actually have two questions,
Yeah.
Particularly around advice. My first question is, and I'm sure you're probably going to do this anyway, but can you give an example of what's advice versus coaching?
Yeah, absolutely.
And my second question is, what if your client asks for advice?
Right. So I had a client that was during COVID, they were trying to decide who to fire. And she asked me, she's sharing with me, like, this is the weakest link. These are the top performers. And I'm just listening to her and I'm restating back to her everything she's telling me. And then she said, but I don't know what to do. Like, what should I do? And then, and I say, well, what do you think you should do? And she's like, well, I feel like I really need, I need to think this a little bit deeper. I really need to like assess the situation a little bit more, but I don't have time for that. So like, what would you do in this situation? And so I told her, I'm not in your position. So I don't have, as much as I'm your coach, I'm not living the situation. So I can't tell you what to do. And that's not my position to tell you what to do. In the situation where, let's say, like I always put it back to them. What would you do? No, I'm not here for that. What would you do? What do you need to do? What do you need to think through? What do you need to consider? It's harder. It's harder for the person, but but they have responsibility now. It's their responsibility. Um, let's say, so one of the things that I do in addition to coaching is that I'm a business advisor. So within that, in that space, right, people, I, let's say I'm working with someone who's just starting their business and I ask them, how do you feel right now? And they're like, oh my God, I feel super overwhelmed. Like, Clara, tell me, what's the first thing I need to do to get this business going? And I could tell them, okay, first, what you need to do, right, is get yourself to feel better. Because if you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed, you're not really using your brain anyway. So the way that I see the future of coaching going, right, is coach and trainer. Right? Coach, and because there's like little things that you can tell someone that can save them so much time. And so in the space where you are where it has been established that you are an expert in the field and the person is asking you for advice, like if it feels right to give them advice and it's not a cop out for their growth, then you can suggest some things. But when it feels like sometimes like people just want advice because they don't want to do their own thinking, then this is where we hold, this is where we hold the high ethics and we say, no, like what do you what do you think you need to do? Like what more information do you need in order to make this decision? Is that helpful, Natasha?
It is. Basically, what I heard is, as the role of a coach, and I wrote it backwards, but you're basically helping people find what they have and then reminding people of what they have so that they can kind of make their own decisions, chart their own chart their own path.
Right. But as a subject matter expert, right, if you you can see that your client is like veering off to the darkness, right? You can say, and you see that they're lost, right? You can ask them, you can say, may I make a suggestion? May I offer a suggestion? Right? But like it's like in a cake, like you sprinkle that on, and coaching is like the meat of it because the sustainable changes come from the client developing their own thinking, and that comes through the coaching. You see the difference? Okay, awesome. Alyssa, you ready?
I am ready. How
Good
are you all?
morning.
Good morning. So I'm just doing a brief introduction.
So yeah, so what you're telling us is where you are. Tell us a hat or two that you wear personally or professionally, and what brought you to this course, and what do you hope to gain from it?
Wonderful. Good morning again. My name is Alyssa Arzola. I am in Atlanta, Georgia. I am from Boston, Massachusetts. So I've been here for about 3 years, and getting acclimated to the South with the traffic and everything else. So professionally, I'm a licensed school counselor. I'm licensed in Massachusetts as well as Georgia. And I'm coming up on my 10-year mark as a school counselor. So I work primarily with high school students currently at the most impoverished high school in the state of Georgia. So working and consulting and talking with parents and mental health practitioners and all that good stuff on a regular basis is something that I do. Recently launched my own business. I sell CMOS in January. That has been going pretty well. And these summer months may be more challenging for shipping, but we're making it do what it do. So I was referred to this course by a friend of mine, Stephanie Lubin. And before I came to Georgia, I was with Newton Public Schools in Massachusetts doing diversity, equity, and inclusion facilitation for the entire district. And attempting to get back into that space because it is work that I enjoy. Georgia seems to be some years behind in Massachusetts on some of that work. So being able to kind of get ahead of that and be an advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and kind of be at the forefront of what is happening, and making sure that I can, use my counseling skills, but also being able to coach. Clara, when you were talking about, allowing people to draw their own conclusions and kind of working and fostering that's something that I have as a school counselor, but definitely shifting that mindset in the consultation portion of meeting with clients and seeing exactly what they would need. So that's what I'm looking to get out of it. Some more language, vocabulary, the psychology behind consulting. But I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful. It's great to have you, Alyssa. And yeah, really, really important work that you're doing down south, taking the hard work that we're doing up here in Massachusetts and bringing it down south. That's really important. Well, thank you for being here. Yeah, so language and vocabulary, so that you can. So I think in kind of in your position, right? The beautiful thing of calling coaching what is coaching, consulting what's consulting, and counseling what's counseling, just really adds, to the value that you bring, to the perceived value that you bring, so that you can get paid what you're worth and the difference that you're really making. And so it's not all convoluted into one thing. So yeah, definitely make sure we're going to satisfy those needs for sure. So we're 5 minutes in. Let me finish sharing. We have 5 minutes until our break. And so let me finish sharing the code of ethics, and then we'll take a 10-minute break. So no questions. Everyone's clear on these. Yes. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So part of the ethics of coaching is that we really want to commit our professional experience and our energy to really helping every client that we serve. We want to expect success from every client that we serve, it's really important. We don't want to be limited by our own expectations or by our clients' past performance, right? In coaching, we want to believe that everything and anything is possible. And so that's really important, that mindset that we bring to the work. We want to encourage clients to believe in themselves. We want to encourage clients to set realistic goals so that they can feel successful and that they can take appropriate actions. And we want to really celebrate their successes from the smallest to the biggest. We want to provide clients with a safe and a nurturing coaching experience. So that's allowing them to be themselves, to be free of the fear of judgment or criticism of failure, which is really, really important, because sometimes if we're not mindful, right, like some of our own feelings can seep through in the work. And so just to stay clear of that, and then we can bring our best selves to our clients. Also remain committed to professional excellence in all that you do and in all that you provide. So doing the best possible job that you can. So